Hey everyone, it's Dr. Patterson. I want to talk a little bit about newborns and newborn feeding, and I'm probably going to divide this into two different videos, one on breastfeeding and one on formula feeding. And look, I want to make sure everyone's clear about this. I have no problem with formula feeding. I think there's no shame in it. I have been a mom of four boys, or I am a mom of four boys, and I have breastfed them. However, I did have to supplement with my last because I just wasn't making enough milk. So I don't want any mom to feel like there's shame in having to use formula, or maybe you just didn't want to breastfeed for whatever reason. And that's okay. So, um, if you're intimidated by the fact that this video, first one I'm going to do about breastfeeding, and then, just don't listen to this one and move on to the formula feeding one. So breastfeeding, everyone or many people think it's just a natural thing and it comes super easy to you because it's natural. It is natural. Your body is sort of uh, made to do it in some ways. However, I will say from personal experience, this is probably the hardest thing I've ever done as a mom. Because while your body is made to produce the milk, getting the baby to cooperate in the first couple of weeks can be very difficult because every breast, and I mean both sides, are different. So everybody has a great breast and everybody has a really not great breast. Your nipples might not be shaped well for breastfeeding. Your ducts might not produce well. The baby's latch might not be great. The tongue might not be very great. They might be very sleepy. And that sleepiness can create this really terrible latch where they just kind of pucker their lips and they don't fully open their mouths, and so you get this little like pinched nipple situation going on, which is very painful. And so you have to really work hard. Sometimes I tell parents that they need their spouse or their parent or somebody else who's at home to help with the latch, where they drop the little baby's chin down to help that latch better, because if the baby's just going in with this like little pinched lip situation, you're not going to get a good latch. And that just creates like the most painful breastfeeding experience ever. Some moms may need to use a nipple shield, and that is okay in the first couple weeks just to sort of lengthen that nipple, especially if you have small nipples, inverted nipples, or as you start to make milk, it pushes your nipple in. It's normally a very temporary thing that you need to use it. It looks like a little big plastic pacifier that goes over your breast. Positioning is very important in the first couple weeks. That normal cradle hold that you see most moms doing is more of an advanced breastfeeding move. You don't have a lot of control over the baby if the head is in the crook of your arm. It's just not something we like to use in the very beginning of breastfeeding. We need much more control over a baby's head. In the hospital, they teach you to use the football hold, where the baby's head is like right here and your other hand is on your breast. I hated that move, I'll be honest, but that was me. It works for some people. You have to have a little petite baby to be able to do it. And I had 8 to 9 pound babies, so it's really hard to crunch that little baby in there like that. For me, the cross cradle was much better. The cross cradle, I'll show you, is like where your hand is here and the head of the baby is here. The length of the baby is here. So you're holding the head here towards this breast and your hand is helping your breast here. So you have control over your breast, you have control over the head. That one is super helpful. You do need to sort of switch holds in the beginning so that raw spot on the side of your nipple doesn't get hit every time. It becomes painful if it hit. I mean, you're going to have pain in the beginning. No doubt, 100%, it's going to be painful. even if it's your second time, third time having a baby, reestablishing that callus on your nipple, it's going to hurt. So try to, even if you're using the same hold, try to make sure the baby is latching maybe at a little bit of a different angle on your breast. Use the Soothies. They're these like little gel pads that you can buy from Lancino or Medela. They last about 48 hours, 72 hours. Then you change them out. They go directly on your nipple. You can have some lanolin first, and then you put them on there like a cooling sensation. They work really great. They help heal the nipple up. And it's okay for the baby to get lanolin in their mouth, just so you know. The lanolin is just there to heal the cracks. Sometimes your nipples will bleed. That is not uncommon. Mastitis can happen. Mastitis is when you have an infection within your breast. It happened to me. It's very painful. And to me, it felt like there were shards of glass. And I just remember my toes were like curling every time the baby went to latch on that breast. It's still important you drain that breast. Sometimes it was helpful for me to touch the breast pump and then to push down to empty that duct side where it was, having a hard time draining because it was so painful. And you need to call your OBGYN to get treated. I just want to make sure everybody is knowledgeable about the fact that if it's your first baby, your milk isn't going to come in for about 4 or 5 days. That's normal. It's normal. You should not be expecting it to come in faster than that. So yes, the baby is just getting a little bit, it's just getting colostrum. Even if you're putting a pump on there, you're still not expecting that milk to come in for about 4 to 5 days. And then you'll probably start to feel your breasts get hard. And then you'll start to see the more milky breast milk come in. The important part, once you've established breast milk, is that you feed one side and make sure you've emptied that side before flipping to the other side. The reason for that is you need to get to the hind milk. The foremilk is watery and is not full of fat and calories. It doesn't make the baby sleepy. It tends to make the baby a little bit more gassy. So if you're timing it and you're going, okay, 5 minutes here and then flip-flop 5 minutes here, the baby is probably just getting foremilk. You're never going to get to that sleepy, fatty hind milk. So you need to empty completely left side and then go to right side. That might mean you don't finish one side. It just means the next time you're going to start on this side. So just be aware of that, because the foremilk, while it's good, it's not as good as getting to that creamy hind milk. So when you do eventually start pumping, you'll see that the milk separates out and you can tell that the hind milk is going to float on top. It's going to be nice and chunky and fatty. And everybody has a different concentration of how much hind milk they make versus foremilk. Problem situations, if you overmake milk, and it's definitely a problem. So those of you who undermake, don't dismiss the overproducers. It is a problem. It's not fun when you overproduce. You need to try to not pump off all of your milk every time, because that will continue to tell your brain you need all that milk, okay? You're going to have to live through a little discomfort to make sure that you're not, again, telling your brain you need it all. So if you pump all of it off every time, your brain is going to keep making it. My underproducers. So I've been on both ends of the spectrum. First kid had too much milk. Fourth kid, in tears, couldn't make enough. It was really hard for me both times. Underproducing, you feel kind of like a failure. And it's really hard. I mean, you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders when you're breastfeeding. Like, I'm supposed to feed my baby. And underproducing can be a lot of reasons. Stress, intake of water, intake of food. At this point in my life, it was age as well. I was older. I had 3 other kids. Obviously, stress induced there. And, you know, I had a lot going on in my practice at that time. So I was pretty busy trying to keep up pumping wise. And pumping, as we know, is great. It's just not as efficient as having the baby on your breast by the time I had gotten back to work. So I got far enough, but then I had to supplement. And that's not a failure if you supplement. It's necessary to help the baby grow. So if you get to a certain point and the pediatrician tells you, you know, I really think we need to add calories because, you know, we've given it a really good shot. You've tried all the ways to increase your milk, like fenugreek and adding calories and adding fluid. You know, there's only so much you can do to decrease your stress. And the pediatrician says, let's add a bottle a day. Then let's try not to beat yourself up about this, okay? I know I know you will, but it's for the best thing for your baby. Any breast milk your baby gets is doing amazing things. I got to the point where I breastfed my baby in the morning and I breastfed my baby at night, and he got formula during the day because that's all I can make. And I still felt good about it. He was still getting all of my immunity. He was still getting all of my benefits for, you know, the decrease in obesity rates, all the things that you think of when you think of breast milk benefits. However, you know, I couldn't keep up with it all day. So I just want you to know that there are other people who've been there. And, you know, even if you can only keep up with making once a day, then do it. If you can't keep up at all, that's okay too. Okay. Plenty of kids have gone to top league schools and been formula fed. I just want you to keep that in your mind, okay? Long term, you know, your baby will be fine either way, breast or bottle, okay? You need to do what's best for your mental health, and you need to do what's best for your baby, okay? So this is the most important thing when we talk about how to feed your baby, is what is best for you and your baby and how to bond with them. Even though people say breastfeeding is the best way to bond, it may not be for you, okay? The stress of it may not be. So I want you to think about, how are you feeling when this is happening? How stressed out are you? And how is it going, okay? So if you have any questions or you want to leave any comments or you need to reach out, please do, okay? This is a very hard time in your life. It's also very joyous, but it's a balance. You go from this is the most beautiful thing in my life to I don't know what I'm doing. So we've all been there. We've all felt that. And I just want you to know that there are many great pediatricians out there who understand and know and can hold your hand through this. Okay? Good luck, mamas.